I've installed the graphics card into the system. I'll put the details as to what the specs are in the description. Now for this test I'm going to concentrate mostly on first person shooters because they seem to tax the systems the most, and also there's a lot of free games on Steam which you can try, and it seems to be the most popular genre, and also you can do multiplayer as well. Okay, so let's launch a few games and just see what this graphics card can do. This first game I'm trying out is Crysis. Now I've got all the graphical quality settings set to low, but the resolution is one above the lowest, just to give this a chance, and we're getting above 20 frames per second, which is okay from what I can see, but ideally with most fast shooter games you really need to be looking at above 30 to make it halfway decent, and I suppose it's going to go down quite a lot once there's a lot going on. Now indoors it's nearly nudging 30, so I suppose we could put this right down low to 800 by 600 to get more frames out of this. But yeah, you can play it, but it's not gonna look great. Okay, so that's Crysis. Now this is Far Cry 2, because you can be sure this machine will play Far Cry with no problems. So on the lowest graphical quality settings and one above the lowest resolution with nothing going on, just moving around the environment, we're getting on average 25 frames per second. I'm sure it's going to go down if a few characters start moving on the screen, but I think as long as you're getting nudging 30, like I explained before, you should be okay. Okay, so that's Far Cry 2. This is Wolfenstein, and with this little firefight, it's nudging indoors. That is, it's nudging 30 frames per second, which is good enough. It's a great game, this. So if you haven't played it, it's worth looking at. It's a modified Doom 3 engine, which is no bad thing. It's quite a compliment actually, from the guys at id. So yeah, check it out. This is a free game on Steam called Blackflag. It's obviously a first person shooter, and I'm getting, as I say, on average 30 frames per second. So if you can aim for 35 and above, 30 and above on this sort of game, then you're doing okay. And there's even a few characters moving on the screen as well, so yeah, I'd say this is not too bad. Okay, so that's Blackflag, and this is a game that should be familiar to a lot of people. It's CSGO, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Now I've had to put the resolution and all the graphical quality settings down to the minimum. I'm not sure if it's the screen size, but I can't get Bandicam to display the frames per second counter. And it's not really a decent gaming experience. I think this is definitely below 20 frames per second at the moment. So unless anybody can tweak it further or knows, because it's quite an old game, so I'm quite surprised this system can't really handle this game. So if anybody knows any tweaks I can do to get it playable, then please drop me a comment. But yeah, the frame rate's just not good enough. Okay, so that's CSGO. This is a game in the Metro series, Metro Last Light. Now it's the more recent enhanced version, but this is definitely not playable, even if we have everything put on low, and the lowest quality set, it's not looking good at all. We're barely getting 18 frames per second at the moment. There's not even a lot of character movement on the screen, which always drops the frame rate anyway. So unfortunately this is not a playable game, but I thought I'd try it anyway. Okay, so that's Metro Last Light. And this is a multiplayer game called Paladins. Again, it's free to play on Steam, and I haven't got the video quality set to low. In fact, I've got some of it on medium, some of the settings on medium, so it might be best to just sort of tweak the settings and get a good balance. And once again, I'm not sure if it's a resolution, but I can't actually see the frame counter in the top left. But yeah, this is definitely playable on this machine. And I suppose you could get more frames per second by nudging that quality down a bit. And maybe the resolution scale, which I've got set to 95%, if you want to play this sort of game. So that's Paladins. Now this is an old favourite of mine from the id Software team called Rage. Now I haven't got it on the lowest resolution, so if you want to play it on this sort of system, I advise you nudge that down slightly, because at the moment we're not even hitting 20 frames per second without too much going on, which is not really that playable, to be honest. So yeah, if you want to play this game, it's very, very cheap on Steam, and it's worth looking at, because this engine really stands up even today. It's the usual id Software quality. Yeah, with this single character on screen, it's not even hitting 20 frames per second on this resolution. So yeah, try Rage. It's worth looking at. This is a Fortnite clone, in quotes, called Royale. Once again, I think it must be the resolution, because I can't actually see the Bandicam frame rate setting in the top left hand corner. But with everything set to low and the lowest resolution, it's playable, but it's not. It doesn't look that great. I'm sure that performance will dip once some players start appearing on the screen. So yeah, this is Royale. It's actually free on Steam if you want to, if you're into Fortnite, then check it out. This is another free shooter on Steam called Team Fortress 2. Now, the engine is not that taxing on this system, so we're getting about 30 frames per second, which is fine, and I'm sure you can get even more if you nudge those settings down a bit. So that's Team Fortress 2. Yet another free Battle Royale type game called Zula, and I'm pretty sure you can nudge these settings up, because I've got it on minimum at the moment, and we're getting 60 frames per second rock solid. So you can be confident that you're going to be able to play this game without too much trouble. And even with a lot of quite a number of players on the screen, there's no problem with this game. Okay, so that's Zula. I should imagine this game's familiar to everybody. It's Fortnite. Now I've got the performance mode enabled. It states it's in alpha stage, but using the game's own FPS counter, 60 frames per second is rather decent, I think. So yeah, you shouldn't have too much difficulty playing Fortnite, although I'm not very good at it, don't think. So yeah, if you want a game of Fortnite, this machine will do it. Now I've just run the in-game benchmark for Tomb Raider from 2013, and we get in on average 15 frames per second, which is not really good enough to play this game, but you can be guaranteed that any games prior to this will run and play just fine. Okay, so that's Tomb Raider from 2013, the benchmark. This is the second game in the Fear series. Now I thought I'd try this because it would be more taxing on the system rather than Fear 1. So at the moment indoors we're getting 20 frames per second. I suppose it is sort of playable. I mean, it's not really dipping too much if there's more characters on the screen. I mean, ideally we'd want 30, but if you can make do with hovering around 20 and the lowest resolution, well, second to lowest resolution, then that's fine. Okay, so that's Fear 2. Okay, just to conclude then, I've run a few games on this system, mostly first-person shooters, because as I said at the start, that genre of games seems to tax the system the most. Now a few games that I tried, like Apex Legends, Warface, Valorant and Rocket League, they just failed to start. In all cases I put the graphical quality setting to its lowest value and also the game resolution to the lowest value or one above the lowest. So if you, in this day and age with graphic card prices being what they are, if you see this one for say £15–20 and you want to play a few of these games, then you'll be okay with that. But just be aware of some of the games that will fail to start. And the good thing about this card is there's actually drivers still for Windows XP, so if you've got a retro gaming build, that card will be ideal for it on Windows XP. Right, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, leave a like and maybe post a comment or two. Thanks a lot.